Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for yet again another filmmaker interview, one of my favorite parts of Garden State Film Festival. We will be in our 23rd year this year from March 27th through March 30th in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and Cranford, New Jersey. There are 201 films, I believe, or a little over 200 films from various different places, various different filmmakers, different types of stories. You can catch the lineup at gsff.org, get any tickets as well as the weekend pass or RSVP to any of our special events. And one of the projects you can check out is this documentary short called Lilac Bez. Here to talk with us about this film are some of the people behind making it. And I can't wait to talk to you guys about this really special, beautiful project. Let me have you all introduce yourself and the title of the film.
Hi, I'm Laura Morowitz from Lilac Bez, and the film tells my story and the story of my family and my two daughters who are also in the film.
Thank
Hi,
you,
I
Laura.
am yeah. Hi, I am Damian Parobczy. I was the editor of the this short.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marek Kaźmierczak and I am one of co-directors of the film, and I'm responsible also for the production of the film.
Beautiful. Well, thank you all, and congratulations on making this beautiful documentary and getting accepted to Garden State Film Festival. Laura, you told us a little bit, but this is your story. Can you tell audiences what is Lilac Bez about your family exactly?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us on, and we're very excited about having people see it at the festival and being at the festival. It's a story, really, that in many ways is the story I think of so many Jewish Americans. I think something like 80% of Jewish Americans trace their heritage back to Poland. And it's the story of going back to this place. In my particular case, no one in my family had stepped foot in Poland for exactly 100 years. My grandparents both left in 1921. It's a very complicated history, as you might imagine. My image of what Poland was and what it represented is very different than the way that I felt with my daughters when we went there. Journeying back to the shtetls, which, the small villages where they lived, being in a place that my ancestors had lived for many hundreds of years, places that have been completely wiped off the map, that don't exist anymore, that have, horrific ends to their stories, but there are still beautiful traces of the life that was there, and the people that were there. So in a nutshell, what we really wanted to do was create a kind of evocative, for those 22 minutes, really immerse people and create a kind of evocative experience of going back to those places, ambient sounds on the soundtrack, um, images, sort of indelible images. And it's not necessarily a sort of a linear story that it's been, that this story's been told in various ways like that. But really a story about both absence, which, as the audience will learn, um, in Polish, the word bez, as I learned from my friend Marek, means both lilac, which is a significant symbol in the film, and also without. So it's about absence and connection at the same time.
Beautiful. And yeah, family and roots and history and truth. It's so many things I love and I think everybody can relate to. So what a beautiful thing you guys put together. Marek, so you directed this, right? And this was such an interesting piece of direct. I mean, one of the things that audience will see when they see it is this entire film is told with like photos. There's some video, but most of it is photos, right?
Yes, there is only a small part, which is the moving picture. This is the element which consists of the scene with the ants. Other elements are built on the images because I am one of the directors. There are three: Piotr Jaksa, cinema photographer, Mikołaj Jazdon, and me. So we worked together, three in one, to be honest, just to underline the ontology of loss. And that's why Mikołaj, for example, suggested, okay, we should create documentary in the poetics of photo film. So the main inspiration of this film was La Jetée from 1962. So we decided, because as you mentioned in the context of the title, that this is something like the Lilac, and there is something like the loss, and how to underline the presence of the loss in the moving image. So in this context, the poetics of photo film is perfect in our opinion, and that's why we decided to create this kind of film. So at the beginning, we focus on the special moments, but we tried as a directors, we tried to be totally invisible when the, let's say, our heroines, Laura and her daughters Olivia and Isabel, they were present in diverse spaces. It was like the journey to the past, and we were only like trees. We were absent on the one hand, and we wanted only to catch some moments, special moments. And Piotr made, because he's the author of the images, he made more than 2,000 of images. And then Damian, who is the wonderful editor, started connecting these images and creating the story according to the script, which was created by Mikołaj, and according to the nature of the history of the her stories.
Wow. What an interesting process, and 3 directors and all of you kind of quietly working in the background like trees. That's so beautiful.
Mhm.
Damien, tell me about receiving, have you ever edited something like this before with just images and some moving pictures? Like, what was this process like for you, and how did you do it?
Yeah, it was indeed a strange thing to do, because like it's so different from anything I did before. But it's like it was interesting because in preparation to making this piece, we watched some old timey movies from still pictures, but we didn't want to be just a slideshow. Uh, because Piotr Jaksa was doing like a series of photos in quick succession. I was able to uh, make it flow and move and make it more interesting for the viewer, I think. And sometimes it's like a little crossfade or something, and sometimes it's like more elaborate effects. But yeah, I think it's like it's tense, dark, moody, sometimes with a kind of mystery, and the nature that binds all of it, and there is like and motive of time also, about passing history, but and changing world, but uh, what I
Yeah.
mean. You must see it.
That's
Yeah.
so interesting, and I've really never that you've never edited something like this before. I've never seen anything like this before, and I think you did a beautiful
Mhm.
job at letting these images, like you said,
Okay.
flow with each other, and those crossfades, and even the moments of blackness, and then the interviews over that. So it was gorgeous. I mean, Laura, this is your story. You went with your daughters, like you had this experience while it was all told in this documentary. How did it feel to be there, and then how's it feel to kind of watch Lilac and Bez?
It was truly a life-changing experience. It was such an emotional experience. I mean, to be there felt like there were times it really felt like a dream. Often it felt like a dream. Um, and it was a very spiritual experience as well. There were places where my daughters and I had, really the exact same experience and feeling, which makes me feel like that it was very sincere and very real. There were many places I was just overcome with emotion, and watching the film, the job that everyone did on it to capture the mood and the spirit. Damien mentioned the little bit of sort of mystery. The photographs that were chosen and the decisions that were made. Um, I think came as close to trying to capture on film what it was like to be there, and the spirit of the experience as we could hope for. I want to mention also that my daughter Olivia, who is with us, is responsible for the soundtrack. She wrote that beautiful, really haunting melody. She studied some Eastern European folk songs, and so she wrote the beautiful melody, the sort of leitmotif, and then she also wrote the song at the end that comes up during the credits. So it was a really great experience.
Sounds beautiful, and you all did a beautiful job capturing that mood, like you say, and then the emotions in this short. How did you all come together?
Mark, do you want to take that one, or yeah?
This is a very complicated question. We met together because we had to, because we had. This is the necessity of the reality, and everything began with the image, with the photo from the 19th, if I remember 1915, and it was the image with three small children who were and are the Laura's ancestors. So Laura, I think that you can also mention about this context, and I would like to only answer, in the context of the answer, I would say that you never know which image taken by you, made by you, will be the first image, the first shot of the film. And this is the beginning of our story. So at the beginning was Laura, her ancestors, then we met online because everything it was during the COVID time, and then other people we found in this fragile world, everybody like Damian, like Piotr, like Mikołaj, like Olivia, like Isabel, and many other great people who supported the idea, wanted to work together. Everything was built on trust. So the simplest answer on your question was everything was possible because of the trust.
Wow.
I should say, if I could add also, we actually met. We're both scholars, and we met, and it was actually Mark's idea to make a film. He was going to be helping me to plan the trip because I was going to Poland, and I thought, well, if I'm not going to go back and see these places now, when I'm in Poland, and we had kind of an instant connection, and then when I think when I sent Marek the photo, he had this idea of, well, instead of just going on this trip, what if we make a film about it? And then it kind of grew from there with lots of different layers and what we wanted to do and who we wanted to be in it, and how it was going to take shape. And but it started that way. And as Marek mentioned, it was kind of incredible because it was during COVID, and before we even stepped foot, we had spent, I can't even add up the hours that Marek and Mikołaj had spent on Zoom to kind of get to know each other.
Mm.
And it was probably, I don't know, 30 hours or something of just talking, and who are we, and how do we see history, and how do we see the relationship between, Jewish and Polish and Polish and Jewish, and and then we brought some other people into the conversation too. And then Damien did a beautiful job, even though he wasn't there for the production part, just really somehow had this amazing ability to sense what it was that we were going after, and to kind of immediately get the mood and the feeling of everything.
Thank you, Laura. But I also want to mention, because it was really quite incredible and quite organic, because everything I did, like Marek was like, yeah, and and everybody. So I was like, oh, okay. So we are going in this direction. So it was quite, it was flowing. But of course, it were changes to the structure and everything to the very end, but not so like radical, and it was like really a streamlined process, I think. Yeah, and great experience.
Yeah, what an interesting process. It sounds beautiful, like a very unique and special journey. So that's incredible. And I mean, You might have already touched this because I think I asked you something like this in the beginning, Laura, but what are your hopes for audiences? It's coming to Garden State Film Festival. What are you guys hoping audiences get out of watching Lilac, Bez?
I guess I would say two things. And the first is to experience it as this kind of evocative journey. I know not everyone has the luck, and very few people have the incredible luck to be going back to these places with, you know, the three men that we were able to travel with. It was very different than one of these, you know, package tours or something like that. So the first thing is just, I would hope that people feel completely like they've gone, when the last second of the film ends, that they feel like they've been on a journey, that they feel like they've been away for weeks traveling through this place. And then the second thing, I guess, would be, you know, and I think we all sort of feel this way, this moment of connection and this moment of saying, you know, there are so many hundreds of years of Jewish history in Poland, beautiful Jewish history of life. You know, I just want to say, one of the things that sticks with me is when we were leaving Chmielnik, which is my grandfather's village, and there are these two amazing young Polish scholars, Edita and Michal, who have given up their life to basically trying to preserve the Jewish heritage of this place. And they work in the museum and the restored synagogue. And when we were leaving, and I said to Michal, you know, is there anything I can do in return? And he said to me, you know, yeah, please tell people that, you know, please tell your Jewish friends that Poland is not only a graveyard. And that was so meaningful to me. And I promised him that I would, and I promised him that, you know, let's focus on the beauty and the life and the connection. And so I hope that, I hope it does that.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you. Thank you all so much. This has been really special. Me just hearing how you, a little bit, I know very, very little, just the surface of the process and how it feels to make Lilac Bez. Let me tell everyone watching how you can watch this amazing documentary short. It will be playing at the Jersey Shore Arts Center Sunday, March 30th. The film block right below is 2:30 p.m. Forget that AM to 5:15 p.m. Go to GSFF.org for your tickets. Don't worry, it ain't that long.
Okay.
Get up that early.
That's commitment. Yeah.
Yes. Definitely check out GSFF.org, guys, for all those tickets. Thank you all so much for making Lilac Bez, for sharing your story,
very much.
your family story, Laura, and for taking the time out to talk to us, guys.
Thank you, Sophia. We look forward to meeting you in person.
Me too. It's such a pleasure, guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Cześć.